In this video we will see the difference between early binding and late binding. So first of all, look at the scenario. We have created a person class and it has a one member, data member, and two function members. First is constructor and second is simple print. And then we have a child class student that is inheriting from the person class. It will get the member public members, and it is defining its new member number, and it has a constructor and it has a print function. The print function, it not only printing its number of the student, but it is also calling its parent class print function, which will print the name of the person. And in the main function we have created two objects. First one is p object that belongs to person class, and second one is s object that belongs to student class. So what is basically binding? Let us learn this by introducing a new function here. I am creating a function name as display. It will accept an object of person class, and after that it will simply call its print function to print the data. Now go to the main function and call the display function, and I will pass the p object to this function, and then I will call this function again, and I will call the s object to this function. You can see this function accepts an object of the person class, and here we have passed person class object to this function, but in the next line we are passing a student class object to the function instead of person class. So this will not generate an error, because in C++ we can pass a child class object to a parent class parameter in the function. It is possible. Okay, now let us try to run the project. You can see here output is name and name. Both objects are printing their name, although the student class print the number of the student also. But you can see here that here the print function is called from the parent class, this one. Although we have passed the student class object to this function, but it didn't call the student class print function, it called the parent class print function. So this is basically a behavior we want to change. We want that the compiler should get information about the object on runtime and call the appropriate print function, which is concerned with the past object. It means if we call the display function by passing a person object, then it must call the print function of the parent class, that is person class print function. And if we pass the child class object to this function, then it must call the print function from the child class student. How we will do this? First of all, we will make this function parameter as call by reference. Okay, uh, then after that we have to mention here in the parent class this print function. We have to mention this as a virtual function. These two things, what will happen with these two changes? Now the compiler will accept the object from the main function in this function as a parameter. It will analyze the type of the object, and it will call the concerned print function from the classes. Okay, If we pass a person class object, then it will call the print function of the person class, and it will call the student. If we pass the student class object, then it will call the student print function of the student class. So let us see now. Now you can see that the first object is printing its name, but the second object is also printing its number and name. So this is basically known as late binding or runtime binding, in which compiler decides on runtime that which function should be called from parent or child. So we this late binding is achievable through the use of virtual functions.